Imagine a country composed of thousands of islands, where its government operates exactly the same way, as a massive, isolated archipelago of data. Every ministry, every local agency, running its own disconnected servers. When citizens need a service, they are forced to act as physical routers between these islands. They carry printed documents from one office to another because the government's databases cannot speak to each other. The 2025 to 2045 strategy mandates a systematic re-engineering of internal business processes, moving the state beyond the phase of merely scanning paper forms into digital PDFs. This official architectural framework replaces thousands of fragmented applications with a unified backbone. It contains 4 interdependent domains. In yellow, digital services. In green, data. In blue, the technology stack of applications and infrastructure. Wrapping all of it in gray is the security domain. We are going to deconstruct this blueprint layer by layer to see exactly how a unified digital state is engineered from the ground up. Building a functional digital government requires tearing down traditional organizational charts and replacing them with a highly integrated technological stack. The first step in this blueprint requires a physical demolition. Government agencies are mandated to abandon their independent, siloed server rooms and migrate to a shared physical infrastructure. This foundation relies on the national data center ecosystem, connected by a secure intra-government network. Sitting directly above this hardware is the digital public infrastructure, a set of shared digital systems allowing society to connect safely. Indonesia's strategy focuses heavily on 2 primary DPI components: a unified digital identity system and a standardized digital payment platform. These systems do not function as standalone web applications for citizens to endlessly log into. They are foundational APIs, application programming interfaces, which are software bridges that allow different programs to communicate with each other automatically. Without centralizing the hardware and establishing these shared foundational APIs, higher-level data exchange between government ministries is technically impossible. Once the hardware and APIs are in place, the architecture must organize the information flowing through them. This is governed by the Satu Data Indonesia, or One Data mandate. Currently, different ministries might record the exact same citizen's address in 3 different formats. The One Data policy forces all agencies to standardize their metadata and catalog it nationally, eliminating conflicting records. To move this standardized information, the blueprint deploys the Government Data and Service Interconnection System, referred to as the SPD-LDP. The SPD-LDP replaces static, local databases with a system of real-time, active data exchange across the government network. Pumping sensitive citizen data across hundreds of agencies introduces massive privacy risks. To mitigate this, the blueprint mandates data protection by design, embedding privacy controls directly into the code of every application from the start. Agencies are also required to conduct data protection impact assessments, or DPIAs. A DPIA is a formal audit process to identify and minimize privacy risks of new projects before high-risk data processing begins. If a state builds a seamless data pipeline without preemptively assessing the privacy impact and standardizing the data itself, it creates massive legal liabilities rather than efficient public services. High interoperability creates a severe systemic vulnerability. A single breach in one local node can travel through the network and compromise the entire national state. The strategy dictates a shift from reactive compliance checklists to a trust-by-design philosophy, strictly aligning with international cybersecurity frameworks like ISO and NIST. Tactically, this requires establishing localized computer security incident response teams, or CSIRTs. A CSIRT is a specialized group of IT professionals tasked with detecting, analyzing, and isolating cyber threats locally before they spread. The framework also enforces proactive vulnerability management through structured vulnerability disclosure programs. A VDP is a secure channel that allows independent security researchers to report bugs they find, so the government can patch them before they are exploited. Because the system relies heavily on digital identity, the blueprint mandates specific defense mechanisms against fraud, including presentation attack detection and liveness detection. These tools ensure biometric verification is checking a real, physically present human being rather than a spoofed image. In a fully unified architecture, security has to operate continuously at the biometric and API levels. It is a proactive, embedded layer, not a firewall added at the end. Even the most resilient technology stack requires administrative and financial structures to actually sustain it. Traditional government procurement relies on rigid annual budgets. This model is incompatible with digital infrastructure, which requires continuous software updates, cloud hosting, and perpetual maintenance. The strategy resolves this by establishing agile, contextual procurement laws. This allows for multi-year funding and innovative financing models specifically tailored for the life cycle of digital goods and services. Furthermore, operating this infrastructure requires a shift in civil service human resources. Civil servants have to transition away from being manual data entry operators. The state must cultivate a digitally literate workforce capable of acting as digital orchestrators who manage data flows and analyze systemic performance. A centralized national data center will fail without the agile procurement laws to fund its maintenance and a data-driven bureaucratic culture to operate it. All of this hidden architecture culminates in the final, visible layer of the stack, the Digital Government Services Portal. This portal is organized around a life event approach to public services. In the past, citizens had to understand complex organizational charts just to figure out which agency to visit. Now, services are grouped around actual human milestones, like the birth of a child, starting a business, or entering retirement. This structure enables the once-only principle, or OOP. OOP is a design concept where citizens provide their data to the government only one time, and the government internally shares that data across relevant departments. Because digital identity, payments, and data exchange systems are fully integrated, a citizen's single input at the portal layer cascades downward, triggering multiple government actions simultaneously. By examining Indonesia's 2025 to 2045 blueprint, we can see that modernizing the public sector goes far beyond updating software. It requires refactoring the bureaucracy itself into a secure, interoperable, and citizen-centric ecosystem.